Hello everyone. In this video we're going to see how to fix a very common mistake which happens then by accident we have a nested Git. So let's say we have a project which is a full stack project with server and client folders, and let's say client is initialized as Git project, and we don't want it. We want the whole full stack app to be a Git project without any nested Gits, because what happens with nested Git is that we cannot really properly push it to GitHub, and it's always a problem. So sometimes it happens with beginners, and we will see how we can fix that. So let's create a folder for our project. Let's call it error-proj, and inside we will make a folder for the server, and we will also initialize the client with create React app. So we will have a root folder, and we will have server folder, and we will have a client folder. And we want the root folder to be a Git project, so that we push everything to GitHub all together with two subfolders, the client and the server subfolders. So while the creator app is scaffolding the project, let's go to GitHub and let's create a new repo which we are going to use to push our files and to replicate this kind of error. Let me copy the remote origin to link our local project to this repo. Okay, so it's finished. Now we have our client and server folders, and we are ready to recreate this kind of error. Let's initialize a new Git project inside the root of our full stack app. So this is what we want to do. This is what we want to push to GitHub eventually. Then in the server folder, let's create maybe one file. Let's call it index.js. So we will have something there. Then let's go to the client and let's check that, okay, we have this .git folder in the client, which means that client was initialized as a Git project. So now we have client Git inside our full stack Git. And that's not good, right? Because it will prevent us from pushing properly to the GitHub. So let's try it out. Let's try to push our project, right? The one we want to push is for this .git inside error-proj, so inside the root folder. This is what we want to push, and let's see if we will succeed doing so. So we do git add dot, and we have this warning, and it's easy to miss it if it's the first time you see it. So of course, after you will have this error, fix it, and you will remember, you will not repeat it. But for the first time that you do it, you see this warning and you might skip it by accident. So maybe you didn't pay attention to that. And let's continue trying to push our project, right? So after git add, now we can commit and we can push. So we link in the project to our GitHub repo, and we are pushing. So in the terminal everything seems fine. We pushed. We go to GitHub, we check what we have. We can see we have server all right with our index.js, but in the client you see this tiny error on the folder which shows us that something is wrong, and we cannot even go there because it's just nothing, right? It's not accessible. We cannot see it on GitHub, so that's the problem we are going to fix, because essentially client wasn't pushed properly. So there's no way to pull it or see it otherwise. Only locally we can see it. So let's go back to the terminal and let's fix that. What we want to do, we want to go into the client folder where the problem is, and we want to remove this .git folder. So we want to kill and completely delete the Git project inside the client, because we don't want it, right? We only want to have one in the root. So once we did that, we will naturally try to push again, right? Because now we think the problem is solved. So we're going to do git add dot again from the root, and we're going to commit removed .git folder, and we're going to try to push, and everything is up to date, and nothing was pushed to GitHub, so nothing changed. We need to do one more step. After removing this .git folder, we also need to remove the whole client folder from git cache history, so it will forget about it, right? And we can do it with git rm -- cached name of the folder, client in this case. Once we did that, then we can try again to git add and then to create a new commit. And this time it will be different. This time in the commit, we will see that there are some changes, right? All these create node lines. And then we push again and we go to GitHub again. We refresh the page, and now finally we can see our client there. So now everything is pushed. Now we only have one Git for the whole full stack project, and we can continue working normally, right? So that's how we fix it. And remember just two commands. If you have something like that, you remove .git from the nested folder where you don't want it to be a separate Git, which is nested Git, and you remove the whole folder where you had this nested Git from git cached history of the root project Git.